Hi, and welcome to your summer microbiology course. Just a quick layout for the course just to help you get oriented and off to a good start. As hopefully is pretty self-explanatory, the first thing you're going to want to do is check out the Start Here section. So whenever you log into the course, this is kind of our course layout. So you're just going to click on the Start Here, and then you'll see a list of things that are in here, and it gives these little bullets here so you know what you have done and what you've yet to do. So there's a welcome from me that's kind of similar to the announcement. Overview, the syllabus is there. There's a syllabus quiz, very important that you know how the course is laid out and the expectations. You will need to use Respondus Lockdown browser for exams. So the first quiz, the syllabus quiz, even though you can use your notes on that one, it does require Respondus Lockdown just so you get used to it. So how to download it is there. There is a Windows and a Mac version. However, make sure you understand you cannot use an iPad for the test due to how the test is configured. iPads are not supported because it records you and your screen while you take it, but you also need a second device that will record your surroundings. So again, that syllabus quiz will help you get oriented to how tests will be laid out, and just to kind of get you off to the right start before we have that first test next week. There are some instructions about using Connect, which is where most of your assignments will be. So you will need to purchase that. The cheapest way to do that is directly from the publisher instead of going through the bookstore. It's an access code. So whenever you click on the first assignment that I'll show you in a little bit, you'll be prompted to either enter an access code if you already have that or to purchase one. There is also a trial period. So if you need a little bit to get finances in order, you do have that option as well. As I just mentioned, the syllabus quiz, again, its main purpose is to help you get oriented to the syllabus, kind of forces you to look at it, but also helps you get used to using that Respondus Lockdown browser. Once you download that, whenever you take the syllabus quiz or any of the tests, you can't be in a regular browser like Google Chrome or Safari. You have to open eCampus in the portal in that lockdown browser. That's the web kind of like browsing app that you'll be using, not another one. So if it asks for a password, it means you're not in the right browser. So exit out of that, open up the Respondus browser, log into eCampus that way. And then there's also an introduction discussion just to help us all get to know each other. And then your next step is to start on to week 1. So the first week is very busy because we have all this introductory stuff as well as your first assignments. So if you click on, of course it's laid out, it's a 6-week course. So each week is going to look very similar. So I'll use week 1 as an example. So we have an overview, kind of gives all the assignments that are due, what we're covering. So the first week we are covering 4 chapters, but the first chapter there's not a reading or a chapter assignment, so it's just kind of a little brief intro. There's a PowerPoint recorded lecture about it, so you will be tested on the information, but there aren't additional assignments. So it's not quite as intimidating as it sounds, but I'll use chapter 4 as an example. So there's a study guide for each chapter, and that's just kind of listing generic-ish questions, so it's not laid out with everything you need to know. My advice is that you download the study guide, and then as you go through and watch the recorded lectures, you fill that study guide in so that you're actively listening to the information, not just kind of passively hearing it. Or if you're going through the PowerPoint or reading, you're filling in the study guide as you go. It's kind of your resource to help you know what you need to know. I'm also willing, if you want to email me those completed study guides to make sure you have all the right information. Sometimes I'll have students say, that wasn't on the study guide, and it was an issue of where they had a very short answer and it should have been a very long answer. So I'm happy to look at those to make sure that you have all the information you need to be successful when it comes time to take that test. So again, for each chapter there's a study guide, a PowerPoint, and at least one recorded lecture. Some of the chapters are bigger, so there may be a couple lectures that go along with them. And then the chapter 4 reading, that'll be your first reading assignment. It's set up so that you are asked questions and then it prompts you back to the reading. You can do them a couple ways. You can read the chapter, which is the way it's designed, and then answer the questions, or you can read, just hit the question and then read. It'll take you to the section where that information's covered, so you're kind of reading it in order to answer the question. You can do it either way. Again, the idea is that it's helping you to read the information as a learning tool. And then the self-check, those are more traditional kind of questions, multiple choice, or like some interactive questions based on the information covered in chapter 4. So more test-like questions in that self-check. So all the other chapters are set up the same way. So again, chapter 7, you have your study guide, PowerPoint, the lecture that's recorded, and then your reading and self-check assignments. And then each week there will also be a discussion. Just this first week we have 2 because of that introduction discussion. So with that discussion, whenever you click on it, it'll have the prompt, which is compare and contrast bacteria and viruses, give 3 similarities, 3 differences, and identify which would be hardest to treat and why. So it's a pretty lengthy question, so it shouldn't just be a 1-sentence answer that you have. So you'll type your post in there, fill out your answer. You won't be able to see anybody else's post until you post yours. So you're going to give your answer, and then once you do that, then whenever you click on the discussion, you'll be able to see what other students put. You will need to respond to at least 2 students in order to get full credit for the discussion. When you respond to those students, it shouldn't just be like, oh, good job, or hey, I liked what you said here, you did a good job comparing. Nothing like that. It should indicate that you really read it, that you've thought about what they've said, you've kind of compared it to what you said, like, oh, hey, we both said the bacteria and viruses X, Y, or Z. Or, oh, you pointed this out, I said this. You can't indicate, excuse me, any inaccuracies that you may see. Just be respectful. Be like, I don't think that's quite what that meant. Something like that. All right. And then once you have all that, I'm just going to cancel out of here and go back. And then you can click off of this and then you're back into your weeks. So again, each of the weeks are laid out very similarly, but for this first week, again, pretty busy week. You need to do the start here section, and then you're start into that week 1. So everything is due on Fridays. Your discussions, that initial post is due on Friday, and then the 2 follow-ups are due by the following Monday. If you have any questions about anything, my biggest piece of advice is, to ask. If you're struggling with something, I'm here to help you. That is my role. So please reach out. I don't know if you need help. If you don't, let me know.